Hello, my name is Paul, and I'm going to be showing you how to perform synthetic division and long division using the same problem, and they will both come out to having the same answers. So I'm going to first show you how to perform synthetic division. Our problem is p of x, which equals x cubed minus x squared plus 6, and d of x, which equals x plus 2. And we are going to divide p of x by d of x. And first, to perform synthetic division, you'll be taking the opposite of your divisor, and that would be negative 2. And what I like to do is box it in. And since we start off with x cubed, just for organizational purposes, I like to put x cubed, x squared, x, and the number at the top just to keep myself organized. And when you look at the problem, this would equal 1, and this would also equal 1. So that would be 1, negative 1, and 6. So that would be negative 1 under x cubed. Actually, that would be a positive 1 under x cubed, negative 1 under x squared. And since there is no x, we will just put a 0 and then 6. So just by synthetic division rules, you would just automatically bring down the 1. Make sure you multiply it by your divisor, which is negative 2, and that equal 1 times negative 2, which would equal negative 2, and then you would just add when you bring them down. So that would be negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 2 would equal 6. 6 plus 0 would equal 6. 6 times negative 2 would equal negative 12. And then 6 minus 12 would be negative 6. So this part would be your answer. But since we started off with an x cubed in the problem, just for synthetic division rules, we would bring that down and take it down 1 degree, so that would equal 1x squared. The negative 3 would be brought down to x, and then there would be a plus 6 after the x, and then the remainder would be negative 6. So our answer to that problem right there using synthetic division would be 1x squared minus 3x plus 6 with a remainder of negative 6. And that is the correct answer because I verified it with an answer key. And that is our first section that goes over synthetic division. And key rules to look at is if there is no single x to complement the squared x and the cube x, you have to make sure to plug in the single x and to plug in a 0 as a placeholder, just so that it doesn't messes you up in your final answer. And you have to make sure you take the opposite of your divisor, which is negative 2 from the plus 2. And another simple rule is to make sure you just bring down your first number and then multiply and then add. Multiply and then add. Multiply and then add. And then with your answer, you have to make sure you just bring it down 1 degree from the starting degree. So since the starting degree was 3, our new degree would start at 2, and then 1, number, and then the remainder. So this would be your answer. And now with the long division. There are some different rules with actually using long division to divide polynomials. And let's start off by, we're going to be dividing this p of x with d of x. So it would be x plus 2, and then underneath the division sign, it would be x squared minus x cubed minus x squared plus 6, which is our original answer. Okay. To get x cubed, you would have to multiply it with x squared. And let me do something real quick. Since there is no x in the problem, as we did in synthetic division, we're going to put a place value in there for the x and then just add the 6 towards the end. And that's how we did it for synthetic division, which was right here. So back to the long division problem. So x squared times x would be x cubed. X squared times 2 would be plus 2x squared. And then for a general rule, I don't know why, but you want to change this sign to the opposite and change that to the opposite. So when you bring them down again, those would cancel out. Negative x squared plus negative 2x squared would be negative 3x squared. You would bring down that 0. And then to get negative 3 squared, you would multiply x first by negative 3x. So negative 3x times x would equal a negative 3x squared. The negative 3x times the positive 2 would give you a negative 6x. And then each time you bring it down, you want to change the symbol. So this negative would be a positive, and this negative would be a positive. So those cancel out. And then when you bring this down, it would be a 6x. And then you bring down the 6 from up top. So there's an overview of our problem right there. So 6x, to get 6x, you would multiply x by positive 6. So positive 6 times x would be plus 6x. And then the 6 times the 2 would bring it down to plus 12. But when you, just for the basic rules again, you want to change the symbols to a negative. Change that to a negative. So those would cancel out. And then this would equal negative 6. And that would be our remainder, because when you go back up, it was x squared minus 3x plus 6 with the remainder of negative 6. And that would be same as our answer using synthetic division, because if you look at it here, if I can get in focus, okay, it is the same answer. And that is an example of using synthetic division and long division. And what I just proven is the fact that no matter which method you use, you will come out with the same answer. I hope that helped, and good luck to you all. Good night.